Hello and welcome to Zeta's Chivalry 2 Survival Run. Today's map is Galencourt and I'm playing with the requested weapon, the one-handed axe and a shield. This is the best one-handed weapon in my view, due to its damage and also versatility. Also, it is a secondary weapon, so you can also have another primary weapon. So that's why it is an S tier weapon, and I'll show you why in my gameplay. It is as quick as the sword and deals much more damage to armored opponents. So even a knight falls down in 3 hits maximum, which saves precious time to focus on other objectives and have a look around and see positions of other enemies. So in short, it assists in having situational awareness by dispatching of the enemy quicker than a sword. Just a small disclaimer, I have completed this run from the first attempt because the weapon and the shield combo is just so good. So if you want to try one-handed weapons, and one-handed axe is probably your best bet. So yeah, let's command the run itself now. So I climbed the wall. This is quite an easy part. The only thing I had to be aware of is enemy ballistas mostly, and not to be outnumbered. Now 2 archers, easy, you see, 2 easy hits, 2 normal attacks, and archers are down. Yes, they're knocked, but it's inconsequential. They no longer pose any threat and also receive their kill anyway. So again, it's just as good as sword against archers, but it's much better against armored opponents. Now, the barrels do have quite a substantial amount of damage. Actually, surprising amount of damage considering other thrown weapons. I mean, probably the only thrown tools that do more damage is an anvil, maybe a bell, and so on. But the barrel does a lot of damage. You see, 102 damage on the enemy, and I killed him. Again, another disclaimer. I'm planning to do a just barrels run. Not sure if I'm gonna make it. I almost did once, but it's just very fun. Barrel is for me by far the best thrown weapon. Thrown tool, because you can pick it up quickly. The only trouble is that it can break down if you throw it from a really big height, so you have to be aware of that. But other than that, you can pick it up just as quickly as enemies swinging, so very often you are doing a stun lock on the enemy. So yeah, barrel toss run incoming, but not now. So far, again cleaving through enemy knights just as easy as through enemy archers, so there's actually no comparison. And the good why it is better than one-handed mace is because it also goes through enemies with light hits, and that's very important. So unfortunately I killed friendly with throwing my shield, and that's not what I intended, but he moved in towards the enemy, and I just mistimed my throw. It's alright, I apologized. That's what you should do too. If you do any team damage or even knock, you should apologize. And doesn't matter if you're mounting catapult or just doing with the melee weapons. Again an archer, but this time friendly has managed to get rid of him. So this is good. I see an enemy standing here. I'm not sure what's the reason. Now charging attack is actually quite bad for this weapon, so I wouldn't use it at all from running position. So this weapon, again, charging attack is not as good as special attack from standing position. So yeah, have this in mind. I mean, once you get used to the weapon, you would understand its strength and weakness, but this is what you shouldn't do. I mean, you've been basically locked in one move, and it does not do that much damage. So just ignore it and just go for standing special attacks instead. They do much more damage. Again, you see, just 50 damage, that's ridiculous. I mean, you can do more damage with simple overhit and side swing. Why do you waste your time on being unavailable to fight and also being vulnerable to enemy without charging attack? So don't do it. I just showed how not to do. And that's easy enemy. He was actually already in red, so it took only 1 hit to knock him down. That's quite, again, a weapon is really good, but I also timed my counter pretty well. Going behind the enemies. Now this is special attack. 1 overhead. Enemies at least assist in dispatching of the enemy. And now I just need to find my way towards the enemy objective. Enemy is blocking. For some reason my kick did not connect well and enemy was not stunned. Now a poor guy without one hand. So it was really just one hit to finish him off. But sometimes it's actually very interesting how you have more chances to dismember second hand if you swing from the other side, if an enemy is already missing one hand. So have this in mind. Yeah, it's funny, but that's how it works. So instead do overheads and so on for an enemy that's missing an arm. Otherwise you'll have to swing him again and he might headbutt you, because that will be the only way he could attack you if he has no arms left. So yeah, the map is progressing fine. This objective is not particularly challenging for attackers. But yeah, so I usually like to go somewhere where it's less populated. Again, the weapon is short, so if I'm in the midst of friendlies, I'll be team hit, you know, damaged from the sides by friendlies. And now again, an archer. And see, no problem, the reach is just as good, even if being kicked you can still reach the enemy. So that, which is good, again, very good, versatile weapon. And now, you know, a lot of team damage too, from teammates. Just to heal up this market stalls, you know, there's plenty of food in the market stalls. Just grab them and, you know, get yourself replenished. And now in comparison, you see, just a normal hit did 60 damage, whereas the overhead, normal axe overhead, does 65 damage, I think, or 68 damage, something like that. So it's better than the Morningstar. Yeah, I'll double check if the enemy is not here, but I'll show you a trick how to get to the enemy. Look, this is the market stalls, and this is how you can get to enemy. Well, you can retreat back to the objective if you are defenders. There you go. That's a jump, and you're back. So I wanted to show this, how while defending you can still retreat. I mean, I found it out not so long time ago, so use it. And again, this place is quite tricky. There's a lot of things falling down on our heads, including barrels and stones. And there are also enemy archers up there. So it's quite hard to proceed here. Also, the shield does not protect you from barrels. So I put the last barrel on the objective. Not sure why friendlies were sleeping there and could not deliver it, but that's alright. So this part is done. Now there's a second part of blowing objectives. There's a second gate we need to blow up. But again, it's not too much trouble if you overpower them and there's, I mean, the team is not pretty stacked towards defenders. So yeah, I see friendly just jumped off the wall. But that's a good way, I mean, you jump, you do get some damage, but you survive. Because this is what happens if you are on a ledge and fighting the enemy. If you're low, just think about retreating. I mean, there's no shame. Like here, I just retreat back and try to block any incoming arrows if they come. So now I went back, and that's why having a ledge next to you is very beneficial if you're planning to survive. This is the sure way to escape, and this is what I did. I had an escape plan and I really like to be next to the ledges, so I can basically hide. And that's the enemy dead. So 55 damage overhead, but that's without armor amplification, so it does much more damage to enemy knights. So it does more damage than Morningstar. So this weapon definitely is better than Morningstar from a get-go. And not even talking about, I mean, damage-wise, and also that you don't need to have heavy to go through enemies. Because all blunt weapons, I mean, there is a potential for them to go through enemies on a hit, but that only happens on heavy hits. With axes and swords, it just goes like this without a problem. You can swing, you can do whatever, normal attacks is fine. So when you do active parry and you want a quick hit, the easiest way is to do a quick swing, so the active parry is still active when you're hitting the enemy. because otherwise if you have blunt weapons, and that's very usually illustrative of maul, if you have it and you want to do a heavy on counter, basically enemy will be able to hit you in that window because your active parry will disappear. So yeah, that's why axe is better. It's more versatile than blunt weapons. I mean, that's what I found out. That's my opinion, of course. When you're dueling, that's not a problem, but when you're fighting against many, that is a problem. So that's 68 damage light overhead, which is really good. A lot of damage. So yeah, we passed through to the penultimate, oh not penultimate, to another objective. I will have to destroy some statues. Again, not the hardest objective, you don't need to destroy all the statues. As long as certain number is destroyed, that's fine. Again, really getting put off by the fact that I want to swing from standing position the special attack, but unfortunately it charges because I've got enough momentum. So yeah, this is... I don't particularly like those weapons that actually do better from the standing position of the special attack, because I really like the charging attack from Vanguard, but for this weapon, standing special is better. And our heavy attack does 81 damage. I mean, incredible. Actually, in 2 hits you can kill enemy in night, if you're lucky. But of course that one will have to be special attack, but still, quite easy. And reach is pretty good too. So enemy dispatch pretty easily. This was some sort of like duel. I mean, some people complaining that I'm just hitting people from behind. Well, this is an example. I mean, we had relatively same chances. He had a shield and a sword, and I had a shield and an axe. And it was like 1-on-1. So it was fair and square, but probably the level of play was not really that great. Because I didn't feel like it was challenging, even though it was in a pretty safe spot, because my spawn was pretty close to me. Still, this was a duel. You've seen a duel, although it wasn't sweaty at all. It was just a quick one. And it ended relatively quickly with me scoring a kill. And now just circle around the enemy. But could not finish him off. Friendly interfered and scored a kill, but that's fine. I mean, I do some kill stealing too. Now an enemy tried to do some feint with his messer, but in that time I was able to hit with an axe. So you see, it's actually a very fast weapon too. I mean, just as fast as a sword, at least in my opinion. So yeah, but much better damage wise. So almost through this objective, which is quite good. I mean, but actually the longer the map goes, the more kills I can accumulate. But also there's more risk of me dying on my survival run. I mean, that's self-explanatory. The longer the game goes, you can die, easier. I mean, you can die just, any second, and the more seconds there are in the game, then the more chance of you dying. So yeah, that's what it is. But that's alright. I mean, I don't feel too threatened. Just a bit quite unaccustomed to the Highland Sword. I mean, whenever you fight against enemies, it takes some time to get used to, weapons. So this was an example that even though I'm sort of proficient in some weapons, it just still takes some time to re-memorize, how fast those weapons are swinging. So this is the reason I actually got hit twice, because I mistimed my counter. It's alright, it was still very forgiving. Now again, charging attack was a complete whiff, because I really wanted to do it from standing position, but just couldn't. And I just don't want to fight that guy there, because it, the third person view obstructs my point of view. So I just decided to retreat back, just heal a bit before I re-engage. So yeah, those trees, I mean, they look good, but not very good if you're playing with a third person view. So instead, Again, I want to fight on different battlefield, not there in the woods. Now there, enemy, it seems like, was killed by the bell. It's pretty fun, but I mean, does a lot of damage, it does not break, but also takes a long time to be picked up. I mean, it's natural. I mean, empty barrel does not weigh as much as the full metal bell, so it's alright. But I would still think that barrel is superior, just in my view. So yeah, for some reason enemy engineers did not think of putting a board or some obstacles against us. And that's why this objective is relatively easy to capture and to break the gates. Now this is another, the last objective for attackers. Basically we have to destroy the monument inside the church. For survival runs I would not suggest you going there, because it's very close to enemy spawn. So instead I would suggest just getting rid of enemies around and save and help your team this way if you want to survive. If you don't want to survive, you know, you're just playing, you know, for the lulz, just go for it. Now I didn't want to go through the main gate, and the reason was that the chandelier was still active. So anybody, friend or foe, could throw something at it, and it would fall on my head and ruin all those minutes of spent playing this game and trying to survive, sweating a bit, right? So for this reason, I decided not to go there. I still check, it's still there. So really dangerous. I've been killed by those so many times, and the shame when it happens at the very last stage, when you've been so successful throughout the run. So that's why, again, word of caution, and just have a look at those one kill items. Try to ensure that they cannot harm you. I lost my shield, so I'll go back to heal and also probably get a shield from somewhere. But it's alright. I was close to the door, and in general, on the last objectives I tried to play even safer than I do in you know, first objectives, just because I don't want to ruin it. And I think you understand that, you know, it doesn't make sense for me to play perfectly and then just decide to go gun-ho for the last objective. No, that's not how it works. I still do a fair amount of duels, but and, you know, risk a bit, but not too much. Again, I don't want to risk and go under this chandelier for no reason. So I instead try to have fights alongside the perimeter and on the way to the objective. So friendlies can actually get to the objective faster. That's easy kill from the enemy who was not aware that I was behind him. Of course, probably I would have killed from behind with an ambusher easier, but you know, in a straight up fight, 1-to-1, ambusher is not that survive. I mean, he doesn't survive that much. On this class, the footman, the man at arms with a shield and an axe, actually has much more chances of survival. I just don't want to risk now. I'm still looking for shields. For some reason, nobody's carrying shields. They're not popular. Not sure why, because they actually do provide some useful value to somebody who wants to trade shield health instead of stamina for blocking. I see the map is ending because friendlies have managed to hack into the objective quite substantially, and now there's only a little bit of health left. So from my side, I've scored 46 kills and enjoyed the game immensely. I mean, 100 axe is really the best one-handed weapon there is. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.